Everybody, it's Joe Vizio here. Sorry I'm a little bit sick today, but technically I'm a business owner, so sick, dying, or dead, off to work I go. Hope everybody's doing good. I've been a rough couple days. You know, things kind of really coming to a head at my house with my mother and my wife. My wife is just, she's done. So, you know, I had to, you know, although I am the center of this, I kind of had to, you know, take a step back and be in the middle of it. My wife just, you know, wants my mother gone, and my mother's, you know, not doing anything at all to help herself to be able to get out. And it's always an excuse. This excuse was she don't know how to work the internet. So, I mean, my wife's ready. My wife's at the point where she's ready to just drop my mom off at a bus station. I can't say that I don't blame my wife. I don't blame her at all, because I'm ready to do the same thing. But, you know, there's right ways and wrong ways to do things, so I won't go too much further into that. I was talking to my mother, and I was just telling her really everything. I had to have that conversation with my mother about how she stinks, how her room stinks, how she doesn't take care of herself, that we're tired of just sitting there watching her die. You know, my daughter goes to gymnastics class. She's been doing it for over a year. And you would think that one time in that year, my mother would have put her shoes on and come over to the YMCA with us and watch her granddaughter cartwheel. She's never done it. My wife's parents have, my wife's sisters has. I mean, we've had friends of the family that go over there. I mean, my mother just has not done anything. So we were having that conversation. All of this kind of come up about how I make these videos and I use it to get this stuff off of my chest. Makes me feel better. It's not a cure, but it makes me feel better doing this. I was, you know, explaining to my mother a little bit further of why I'm doing this, and I said, you know, with all the stuff that you've been through, I said, and you've been suppressing it all these years, it explains why you are the way you are. And my mother said something to me that I know probably everybody out there has heard. She said, well, I just don't dwell in the past. I used to get that a lot from my father. Just dwell in the past. And this is my thoughts on this. If anybody out there thinks that people like us are just sitting in a chair running this shit through our minds like it's some kind of a fucking hobby, you're crazier than what you think we are. We're not just sitting around thinking about this stuff because we want to think about it. We go through and we touch this stuff or dwell in the past because we are just tired. We're tired of behaviors that we have. So we look into our past to try and find the key to those behaviors. And what I said to my mother, I said, when you come in the kitchen and you start asking me what I'm doing in there, and I've talked about this in a few videos, and as a matter of fact, it was the highlight of the letter that I had written to Ali. When you come into the kitchen and you're asking me what I'm doing in there, and that is a trigger for me, I want to find out why that is a trigger. If somebody is asking me what I'm doing in the kitchen and it is making me angry, it is turning me into an asshole, I am so much the polar opposite of a narcissist that I want to find out, why am I being an asshole for a simple question? So then I dwell into my past so that I can find the answers. That's why we all do this. That's why we all have these issues with our past. And we dig into there. We open up that closet full of skeletons. And we try and figure out what happened. It's as simple as that. My mother has stone-faced everything that has happened to her in her past. And my mother is a complete emotional, depressed mess. My mother has never amounted to anything. And it's one thing when somebody is telling you that you are not going to amount to shit. But when you physically, mentally, and emotionally prove those people right, there's a problem. And a person that wants to improve their life is going to dwell into that past to figure out the problem. That's all. It's sad that people actually look at us like that. Airing your dirty laundry out on an internet forum. You know, I see it all the time on forums like Facebook. There's a lot of narcissism on there. A lot of narcissism on there. But if you weed through that, you can make somewhat decent connections with people. And sometimes one of those people may have a problem. Something in their life that's bugging them. Maybe they'll vent a little bit on there. Tell a little bit of a story. And then some of the good people that they've made connections with might offer some advice or, you know, give them the, you know, I'm sorry that happened. I'm in here for you. You can vent to me. All that good stuff. That's all nice. But then there's always those narcissists that gotta come out of the woodwork. Don't talk about personal stuff on here. We all have problems. I just don't put mine on here. Well, that's because you're a cold, vapid piece of shit. You're a cold, vapid narcissist. And God forbid one of these people comes on here and tries to get some advice, even if it's from complete strangers. Sometimes you can get some pretty good advice from a complete stranger because they are 100% unbiased to the situation. It's a good thing sometimes. Yeah, there is crossing the line. Yeah, there are people that are just trying to get attention. I always love those people that get on there and start ranting. Oh my God, you'll never guess what happened to me. How can these people do this? And then they never say what happened. It was just to get likes and attention. And yeah, there's those people, but we know the difference. A lot of people just look at it. You're airing your dirty laundry out. Well, you sure are trying to keep people from airing that dirty laundry out. What, it might expose you? Something this person over here saying hit a little too close to home for you? Yeah, I know. But that's how it is, right? A couple little things I want to touch on. Both of these came from Michelle breaking the chain. And, you know, one of the things that she was talking about, and I guess it's kind of replies and collaborations with a list of other people, was talking about, you know, scapegoat going to the doctor. And here this lady's talking about how she's got some pretty serious ear damage done because her mother thought that she was trying to get attention from having an earache. I have to tell you, Michelle, I've been in that boat. And yeah, I rarely go to the doctor now, despite the back problems I have. I always, in different videos, tell the little dadism when it came to being sick. I'll go ahead and tell it here again. When I was school age and I was sick, I could wake up in the morning and I could tell my father, Dad, I'm sick, I got the flu, and, whatever. Alright, man, you go ahead and you ride into school. When you get to school, if you still feeling bad, you give me a call and I'll come and I'll get you. Get to school. Call my father from the office. Yeah, Dad, I'm not feeling any better. That bus ride did nothing for me. I'm really sick. It's okay, be a man. Just gotta put your head down on the desk if you need to. You're already there, so there's no sense in me coming to get you. Okay. And then when you are sick, when these people have finally broke down enough to believe that you just might be sick, God forbid you do anything except for lay in bed and wait for the Grim Reaper himself to come and collect your soul. Yeah, you're sick, but maybe you're feeling just a little bit better and you feel like, maybe I don't want to just sit here and lay down in the bed. Let me sit up and put the TV on, or let me just go and try and do something constructive besides lay in bed. Oh, well, obviously you're not that sick if you're doing something besides laying in bed. I know y'all know about that one too, right? It's crazy. And another thing I want to touch on again from Michelle Breaking the Chain, she was talking about how not every time you break up from a relationship does it involve narcissism. It may seem like it, but it's not always narcissism. Sometimes people just aren't meant to be together. Sometimes you just don't agree. Doesn't make a person a narcissist because you don't agree. And what I see is, a couple channels I do enjoy. Sometimes I get turned off from watching those channels because it's kind of being inundated with things like that. And as I explained to Michelle in one of my comments was that, it seems like whoever can get the letter to Ollie fast enough, the other person is the one that's going to be called out as a narcissist. Shit happens. And this definitely does not downplay people who have truly been in narcissistic domestic relationships. I think I have a couple that, I can say, but it's really not worth me calling anybody out on it, because at those times, I was probably doing some pretty narcissistic things myself. My ex-wife was a complete and total bitch. And in turn, I could be an asshole. I was young. I was still trying to mimic what I learned from my father. So our relationship was very, very, very toxic. That was probably one of the worst relationships I've ever been in my life. I don't think that there's been anybody on the face of this planet that could push me to that brink of insanity like my ex-wife could do. My ex-wife was just a little bit younger than me. Baby boomer parents. Although her parents were not narcissistic, they were They were a little baby boomeristic, if you understand that. And again, I'm not down in all baby boomers. There's a lot of good people out there. And our parents were good people. They tried their best to help both of us out. But my ex-mother-in-law was one of those, like, neo-Nazi feminists. So, if my ex-wife had to do anything related to cleaning a house, she thought that all men were male chauvinist pigs. And mind you, I never asked anybody to do anything. Never even asked a woman to cook me a meal. Kind of grew up taking care of myself, so I don't need no woman to do that stuff for me. If you'd like to share in that responsibility, that's great. My ex-wife referred to the vacuum cleaner as Satan. So my ex-wife could do some things. For example, and this is a true example, I could call the place where she worked, and she worked for her parents who owned a little store. And I could call, and she might be busy with a customer, and I tell her father, hey, can you just tell Kim to bring home a gallon of milk, please? No problem. 10-15 minutes, I would get a phone call, and the phone call would be absolutely nothing more than, no, you're not my father, you don't tell me to do anything like that. Which was just kind of mind-boggling. I mean, I'm just asking you to get milk. But in her mind, if I need milk, I need to get up off my ass and drive myself to the store and get milk. And that's a true story that I just told you. Sometimes things like that can get pretty damn explosive. But I'm not going to call her out as a narcissist. We just weren't meant to be together. I was on one of the forums one time, and it was the survivors of narcissistic abuse on Facebook. And somebody had wrote on there, it was something to the effect of, oh, please help me, what did I do? I ended up sleeping with my narc last night. And that just, that triggered me. Kind of triggers me now just thinking about it. And again, I understand that there's some people that went through some pretty bad things with a narcissist in a domestic relationship. I wish I could remember the whole